Okay. So we have 88 slides. So brace yourself. Tapi I think most of you are happy kan kelas online rather than you have to come here. Anyway, right. So if you refer to our syllabus last time, so we are going to focus on employment income. Okay. And as you can see here, under section 4, so when we talk about income, basically income under Income Tax Act, so we are actually talking about chargeable income or income chargeable under section 4B. So under section 4, right, we have A, B, C, D, E, F. So you're going to learn all this later. And for today, the focus would be on section 4B. Saya mula dengan employment income dulu, nanti habis, then only we go back to 4A. So 4A ni dia lain sikit lah, because it is actually gain or profit from business. Okay. All right. So what is employment? So first of all, before we can actually define what is employment income, you must understand what does it mean by employment. All right. So when we talk about employment, kita tahulah when we talk about employment, we are actually talking about relationship between what we call as a master and servant. Right. So ada boss dia, ada pekerja dia. And then the appointment of or office for which remuneration is payable, which means you are being appointed and you will get a fixed remuneration, or you will get some kind of remuneration. And definitely it will be controlled by the employer. For example, the ownership of tools or assets by employer, the contract of employment. So for the first thing that you will do when you receive an employment offer, you will sign a contract. So you have a contract of employment, and the salary and benefits normally are fixed. And as well as you're going to have what we call as an EPF contribution by both the employer as well as employee. All right, so first of all, you need to understand the derivation of employment income. What type of income that is considered as income received in ataupun income derived in Malaysia. All right, so first of all, definitely derived income from Malaysia, and you perform duties in Malaysia. Right, remember when we employment we have master and servant. So you must perform duty to the master, which means to the employer. So we are the employee, we have employer. We perform duty to our employer and we get an income. So first of all, the derivation of employment income is actually income derived from Malaysia, and you perform duty in Malaysia, just like us. Now we are in Malaysia. So like myself, I am in Malaysia. I perform duty in Malaysia. So my lecture is done in Malaysia, and I get income from UPSI, which is also in Malaysia. So number one, very clear, clear cut. Derive income from Malaysia and perform duty in Malaysia. Number two, perform duty in Malaysia but receive income in Malaysia from outside Malaysia. Let's say those international school or international college contohnya, so they perform, the lecturers or the teachers, they perform the duty in Malaysia. They receive the income in Malaysia, but the income, the source of income might be coming from outside Malaysia, which means maybe the owner of the school or the owner of the college or the business too is not in Malaysia, but the income they receive and they perform duty also in Malaysia. The income received from outside Malaysia. Number two. Number three, derive income from Malaysia. Kita kata dia derive income from Malaysia, perform duty outside Malaysia. For example, some of government servant ke ataupun in the public sector even, you will be seconded to overseas, which means company you in Malaysia, your employer is in Malaysia, but you have to perform duties overseas. Tak kisahlah mana-mana, which any parts of the world, but you are in Malaysia. Sorry, you perform duty outside Malaysia, but you derive income. The income is actually from Malaysian employer. So you hanya pergi kerja kat tempat lain, but the income coming from Malaysian employer, right? So itu pun dikira sebagai derivation of employment income under section 3. Alright, so section 13(2), employment income is deemed derived from Malaysia. In tadi kita dah tengok lah dalam table tu kan. So the table is actually to simplify and to make sure that you understand better lah. So when we talk about duties performed outside Malaysia is incidental yang tadi seconded to overseas tu, as well as a person is a director of a company resident in Malaysia, or employment is exercised aboard a ship or aircraft used in a business of a person resident in Malaysia. So kalau Malaysia Airlines contohnya kan, ataupun kapal dia pergi mana-mana banyak tempat, tapi the business tu ataupun the business belongs to a person resident in Malaysia, pergilah ke mana-mana pun that person tu ataupun that employment tu kita kata dia derive income from Malaysia, so will be taxed under Malaysian law. Alright, 60-day ruling. Yang ni kita tengok masa kita buat resident status. So kita kira resident status for individual. Alright, but we have a 60-day ruling. This is for non-resident individual, which means dia datang Malaysia buat kerja sekejap-sekejap. Alright, and if the employment exercise in Malaysia is exempted if he or she is in Malaysia working less than 60 days. So total number of days continuous is 49 days. Contoh kat sini kan, ada 2 tahun. So 49 days, 2017 and 2018. So total would be 49 days. So bila kita tambah 49 plus 10, 59, he is exempt from income tax. So you can refer to next example nanti ada dalam table. Alright, so why do we need to distinguish employment income from business income? Alright, tadi number one is of course different section. Employment income section 4B and business income section 4A. So nanti later when we go to business income, you will see there are a lot of deduction of expenses which are not really applicable to individual or to employment. And we also have capital allowance claim only for business, and carry forward of losses also only for business. And the basis of taxation for employment is calendar year, which means January until December. But for business income, it depends on their their financial year. Monthly tax deduction, this is for employment. You have to pay monthly tax. Business pun dia ada jugalah buat monthly tax ni. And EPF is required for employment. And there are some exemption on employment income. So later on, we will see the different types of exemption, the different categories of exemption. Tapi all the exemption are actually for resident individual. All right, basis of assessment. All right, again, so this is employment income for individual will be assessed on a calendar year basis. So when we say calendar year basis, it is actually from January and 1st Jan until 31st December. And the gross income from employment, gross ni maksudnya whatever that you receive monthly or yearly without deducting any expenses lagi ataupun exemption. So that would be gross income. Is treated as gross income for current year of assessment and all employment income liable to tax in the year of receipt. Regardless you dapat income tu from last year punya bonus ke, but if you receive it this year, you will be taxed this year, right? So the concept is income will be taxed in the year of receipt. Alright, so here we have Mr. Capricorn. For example, he received an overtime allowance of 10,000 for December 2017 together with February salary on 28 February 2018. Bonus hujung tahun dapat tahun depan. Right, so the overtime allowance will be reported in year assessment 2018 written form and will be assessed as income for year assessment 2018, year of receipt. Right, so this is the difference lah. Padahal dia dapat untuk 2017 kan, but he received in 2018. So he will be taxed in 2018. Alright. So you all spend last semester learning about this employment income. So I will go briefly setiap section ni so tak adalah saya nak go terlalu detail, but later you will have to answer some questions and submit. So here when we talk about employment income, tadi nampak yang besar ni is section 4B the general section is section 4B. And then under section 4B kita ada the different types of employment income under section 13(1). So under 13(1) kita ada A, B, C, D and E. So kita akan tengok satu-satu lah. So the first one, section 13(1)(a). Okay, 1A, kalau tengok dekat sini, what we have here is monetary benefits. Monetary benefits, which means the benefit that you get is in terms of monetary or money lah, cash. Right, so here, any wages, salary, remuneration, leave pay, fee, commission, bonus, gratuity, semualah in respect of having or exercising an employment. Dah buat kerja, dapat upah dalam bentuk cash. Itu will fall under section 13(1)(a). Amounts received in monetary form and benefits convertible to cash. Boleh convert to cash because in some cases, for instance, allowances, instead of you get a cash allowance, sometimes the employer will give you ataupun dia minta, okay, you can spend and then you claim. Okay, kita spend duit kita and then we claim. Itu pun termasuk dalam reimbursement under section 13(1)(a), because the reimbursement you get is in terms of cash. Okay, so termasuklah allowances, benefits convertible to cash, convertible into monetary, boleh tukar dalam bentuk duit, dalam bentuk cash, perquisites as well as shares, option. Ini tak semua company ada lah. So the company or the employer let you have shares at a lower price. And allowances, right, later on kita akan tengok lah, there are different types of allowances. It can be travelling allowance, meal allowance, entertainment allowance. So if the allowances are to be used to perform official duties, amount attributable to the performance of official duties are allowed as a deduction. Ini biasalah, you dapat duit tapi you spend for official duties, dia boleh allow as deduction. Alright, perks. Perquisites. It can be in money or otherwise. You can get perks dalam bentuk cash ataupun selain cash lah. So the cash can be received regularly or casually, and the perks can be in cash or in kind. In respect of an employment or given by employer voluntarily or a third party voluntarily. So you can refer to my guru, right? I already uploaded the public ruling for perquisite. We have public ruling number 5/2019. So PR is public ruling. So dalam tu ada the different types of perquisites. So you can read dekat situ. So nota saya tak cukup sangat lah. You have to refer to public ruling. Dalam tu ada details, ada example semua. Alright, what about gifts? Remember tadi when we talk about employment income, we're talking about fixed benefit, kan, monetary benefits yang dibayar based on your performance ataupun based on what you perform to the duties performed to the company. What about gifts or testimonial? Okay, employer give you gifts for personal appreciation, for personal reason, wedding gift, passing exam, kan? Hadiah pergi holiday sebab different type of gifts, so given by the employer for whatever reason, personal appreciation or personal reason, is non-taxable. Yang dibayar sebab you perform duty to the employer, then taxable kalau gift tak. Right, this is also considered as gifts, long service award. Some employers, they give you long service awards yang kerja lebih 10 tahun, lebih 20 tahun, lebih 30 tahun. So for long service awards ni, we have a tax exemption up to maximum amount of 2,000 for each year of assessment. And sebab ini semua akan reported in EA form, so we can see if the employees have served the same employer for more than 10 years, then normally they will get long service awards and he or she will get tax exemption. 2,000 for each year of assessment. Right, gratuity. Gratuity ni, nanti bila kita pergi ke non-business income, section 4D nanti, you will see again gratuity. But I will discuss gratuity here because gratuity is normally paid in terms of monetary benefit dalam bentuk cash. So it is a lump sum payment attributable to the past service of the employee upon resignation or retirement. Gratuity tak dapat selalu, akan dapat whether you resign or you retire. In general, gratuity is taxable, but there are some exemption with regard to gratuity. So we have paragraph 25. So if the retirement was due to ill health, retire sebab sakit. You cannot perform job anymore. So you have to retire purely because of ill health. Then the gratuity received will be exempted from tax. This is very important because when we talk about gratuity, we're talking about a large sum, a large amount of money, like 500,000, 200,000. So can you imagine if you receive 200,000 and you retire because of you sakit and you have to pay tax pula tu, tak syok kan? So if the retirement was due to ill health, then it will be exempted. Exempted all bukan percentage berapa persen exempted, tak all. Or if the retirement is on or after the age of 55, right? So as of now, our mandatory age of retirement in Malaysia is 55. Or on reaching the compulsory age of retirement under any written law. So some employers they letak retirement age is 60. So depends lah what is the age of retirement. So in both cases, the employment has lasted 10 years with the same group of company. So exempted dekat sini we have exemption. Exemption also given to perks consisting long service past achievement. Ini yang tadi lah. Alright, so here example we have Andrew, manager with Gemilang Sendirian Berhad. So at the company's dinners, he received the following. A watch costing 3,000 ringgit for servicing the company for 15 years and letter of appreciation and cash gifts of 6,000 for excellent service. So he got a watch as well as cash. So the total perquisite 3,000 plus 6,000 is 9,000. So if we go back to yang tadi tu, for long service award ni ada exemption 2,000 ringgit. So kita dah total 3 tambah 6, 9,000. 2,000 will be exempted. So the balance of 7,000 will be included under gross income from employment under section 13(1)(a). Sebab dia dapat cash kan? Kita campur je harga jam dengan cash yang dia dapat. Sebab remember tadi monetary benefit ni benefit can be converted into cash. So jam ni ada harga 3,000. So boleh convert into cash. That is why kita lamsamkan lah 3 plus 6. Alright, in some cases you might have a travelling allowance assessed based on the full amount received as gross income from employment, but travelling allowance in general is exempted up to 6,000 per year, provided that the taxpayer was not provided with a company car. If the taxpayer or the employee is provided with a company car, then the calculation akan jadi different sikit lah. Sebab dia ada kereta kan, dia tak ada yang ni, dia ada kereta. So dia tak ada travelling allowance ni. Dia ada benefit dalam bentuk kereta. Right, so the exemption is 6,000 per year. Jangan pula 6,000 you pergi darab dengan 12 bulan pula nanti. Professional subscriptions. Right, subscriptions to professional body is essential to employees to enhance knowledge and to facilitate carrying out of duties. And the fees paid by employers are perquisite. So, right, for example, you have to pay your professional subscription to whatever professional membership lah. Let's say you are an accountant, you have to pay professional subscription to MIA, Malaysian Institute of Accountant. You bayar dulu, then you claim. Tak kisahlah, you bayar dulu, you claim, or biasa macam tu lah, the company bayarkan for you. Fees paid by employers are perquisite. Dalam bentuk cash kan, dia bayarkan the cash tu. But professional subscription, if it is related or directly contributed to the employment, it is considered as perquisite. If related, then exempted. Kalau professional fees yang tak ada kaitan, not directly contributed to the business of the employer, it is considered as perquisite and accessible under section 13(1)(a), which means kalau dia bayar your subscription dekat mana-mana body yang tak ada kaitan with your employment tu, itu dikonsider sebagai perquisite and you will be taxed. Tapi kalau tadi macam accountant, company bayarkan professional subscription kepada MIA tu, itu exempted lah. Okay, other types of perquisites also taxable. Bila ada dekat EA ni, B1 ni, dia akan appear dalam kita punya EA form. Sometimes the employer might get tips by the third party. So third party bagi dia tips, bagi dia commission. Itu dikira perquisite. Utility bills paid by the employer. Transfer of asset for free or at a discount. Recreational club membership. Life insurance premium. Scholarship, gift vouchers and professional subscription. Kalau relevant to professional duties sahaja eligible for relief. Kalau tak adalah. It is actually taxable basically. Semua ni basically taxable. Okay, what are the perquisite provided by employer that are exempted? Okay, if let's say you receive petrol allowance or travelling allowance, the company bagi you now, okay, petrol card. Sebulan 1,000 contohnya, kan? So dia bagi you petrol card. But kalau gunakan travelling tu untuk official duties, for example keluar pergi conference for the business or keluar pergi jumpa klien ke, all those for official duties, that employee will get an exemption of 6,000 per year. If the company also gives allowance for fees for parking, susah nak dapat parking. So the employer bayarkan the parking spot ataupun dia bagi allowance for parking. Allowance or fees for parking is exempted. Meal allowance, childcare subsidies. If the childcare is paid by the employer ataupun dia bagi subsidi 2,400 a year boleh dapat exemption. Utility bills, telephone bills, internet subscription, and employers own goods provided free of charge or at a discount. Ini pun exempted. Ini dikira perks tapi exempted. Exempted means you don't have to pay tax on the benefit received. Alright. As I mentioned previously, during our first lecture, I think, the important part of this taxation is actually how you can maximize the tax exemption on perquisites. So we know that whatever income that you get from the employer will be taxable under employment income, and whatever perquisites that you receive will also be taxed under employment income. So how can we maximize the tax exemption? Because some of the benefits are actually tax exempted. So kita nak tahulah, kita dapat semua benda tu yang kita tahu kita kena bayar tax, but we also want to know how to maximize the tax exemption. Alright, so the first one, these are perquisite with tax exemption. Right, dapat tapi you will get exemption. So for example, tadi kita ada travelling allowance, petrol allowance or toll rate for official duties or to exercise the employment or to function the job well. So the exemption up to 6,000 per year. So janganlah lupa later nanti kalau dapat semua benda allowance ni, so you will get exemption up to 6,000. Okay, and the parking rate or parking allowance, itu pun tax exemption. Jangan pula bos kata, okay, I will give you parking allowance, saya tak nak ambil, nanti kan kena bayar tax. Oh no, parking allowance is exempted. Meal allowance, right? So kalau company tu bagi you meal allowance, also exempted. So let's say on regular basis ke, daily ke, monthly ke, same rate to all employees. Dia bagi allow makan 10 RM1 satu hari, sebulan 25 hari, 12 bulan, so 3,000. So you will get this amount, around this amount for exemption. Childcare allowance up to 2004 and subsidies of interest. Ini if you purchase a house and the company biasanya loan less than 300,000 je lah yang dia bayarkan. The company will give you subsidies to pay your housing loan. And the subsidies on interest portion ni is also fully exempted. So basically banyaklah, if you do not know, then you don't know how to maximize the perquisite. If you know that, okay, dapat allowance ni, okay, I can get that allowance because I can get exemption. Jangan pula tak nak ambil, or you get other allowances kan yang tak dapat exemption tu. Alright, so for this one, the Past Achievement Award, Service Excellence Award, Long Service Award, Innovation Award or Productivity Award. Okay, ini semua exempted is limited to 2,000 for each year. So any awards exceeding the amount will be subject to tax. Okay, let's say the employer nak bagi you, okay, Service Excellence Award. Okay, you kerja bagus. Kita bagi you RM6,000 Service Excellence Award. You can actually replace lah. Ataupun kalau bos nak bagi you bonus end year bonus. Okay, nak bagi you bonus 10,000. You can discuss to replace the part of the year end bonus dengan award dekat sini ni. Because semua award ni you dapat exemption exemption 2,000. Walaupun dia limited 2,000, you still get exemption. Rather than when you get bonus ni kita dapat dalam bentuk cash biasanya. So bonus will go straight, the lump sum figure, whatever amount that you get will be taxable. As compared to these awards, dia ada exemption 2,000 for each year of assessment. So we can arrange in order for us to minimize our tax paid on employment income, we can strategize, we can plan to replace whatever cash that we get dengan award yang dekat sini lah. Sebab award ni ada exemption. Untuk bonus tak ada. Bonus dia akan masuk. Let's say you get RM10,000 bonus, you will be taxed at RM10,000. Okay, yang ni saya skip lah sebab yang ni sampai 2021 je. Alright, section 31B. Kalau tadi 31A, all monetary semua cash. Section 31B, B is benefits in kind. BIK, so benefit income. Benefit in kind ialah dalam bentuk barang, bukan dalam bentuk cash. So gross income will include all an amount equal to the value of the enjoyment of any benefit provided for the employee. Must not be convertible into cash. Cannot be sold, assigned, or transferred. Also, I have uploaded Public Ruling Number 11 2019. This is for benefit in kind. So all the tables, all the rates needed that you need to know, semua ada dalam Public Ruling ni. All the notes, tables from my notes ni pun coming from Public Ruling. Okay. Exemption. Okay, ingat the benefit in kind ni tadi, it must not be convertible into cash. Cannot be sold, assigned, or transferred. Kalau tadi you get watch, you boleh jual. Kan? You dapat duit, you boleh tukar, boleh convert into something else. You dapat shares, company bagi share, you can sell the shares. Here, the benefit in kind ni, section 31B, you tak boleh buat apa-apa pun. You kena ambil je. Cannot be sold, assigned, or transferred. So, exemptions. What are the exemptions under section 31B? Medical and dental treatment. Ini semua tempat ada clinic panel, hospital panel, dentist punya panel, panel dentist dia. So, the employer bayar all the medical and dental treatment ni, and it is exempted under section 31B ni. Childcare facilities in center provided by employers, kalau ada. Yang tadi, section 31A, childcare subsidy tau. Duit, dia bayar tapi dia bagi subsidi, dia bagi diskaun. Sekarang ni, childcare facility in center provided by employer. Tu pergi kerja, dekat tempat kerja tu ada childcare. Itu dikira under benefit in kind section 31B. You will not get cash, you get the service provided by the employer. So will be exempted. Sebab childcare facilities exempted. Benefit used by employee solely in connection with the performance of his duties. For example, the benefit ataupun ini award jugalah company bagi leave passage within Malaysia. Dia bayarkan your holiday not exceeding 3 times in a year. Itu kalau pergi local. Pergi Langkawi ke Bangkok ke Melaka ke PT ke JB ke mana ke. 3 times a year exempted. Or 1 leave passage to overseas in a year. Limited to a max of RM3,000. Malaysia tak ada maksimum pergilah asalkan 3 kali. 3 kali company boleh bagi pergi mana-mana yang dia nak bayarkan. Then that benefit is exempted from tax. You do not have to pay tax over that benefit that you get from your employer. Kalau overseas ada limitation lah, up to 3,000. If the company sponsor you pergi holiday, pergi overseas more than 3,000, the balance tu you have to pay tax. The benefit that you get. But you must remember semua ni hanya untuk employee, yourself and members of immediate family. So who are the immediate family? Spouse and children. So if you are single, that would be your parents, immediate family. Alright, here we have Sok Cheng, Sales Director of Kayu Sendirian Berhad, provided with the following holiday. passage. So the company bayarkan holiday dia. September pergi US, December pergi Tioman. Right, so airfare to US 22,000, ada meals and accommodation. This semua, all these are paid by the employer. Ada airfare to Tioman and meals and accommodation. Tak payah airfare lah ni, pergi Tioman kereta je lah, 2,002. Alright, so kita nak tengok tadi because we know pergi local 3 kali, pergi overseas sekali So here dia ada satu local, satu overseas. Alright, so let's look at US. So dia ada 22,000. Kita total airfare, tambang dia sahaja 22,000. Dia dapat exemption 3,000. Yang ni tadi lah. Outside Malaysia limited to 3,000. So tolak 3,000, exemption dapat 19,000. So yang ini tambang ni local, dia pergi Tioman tadi, all are exempted. So remember local tak ada cap overseas je ada cap 3,000. Alright, so exempted, so she will be taxed based on 19,000 yang company dia bayarkan holiday dia pergi US. What about meals and accommodation? Alright, exemption untuk overseas only for airfare, air ticket sahaja, not meals and accommodation. Meal and accommodation will be taxed. Unlike local, semua exempted. Asalkan jangan lebih dari 3 kali. Remember local tadi tak ada cap, tak ada minimum amount, tak ada maximum amount. Asalkan jangan lebih 3 kali. And exempted tu termasuklah tambang dan meals and accommodation. For overseas only ticket. Meal accommodation tak, meal accommodation will be taxed. What about car? Car and related benefits. Assessed based on the value of the car and fuel provided. Ini dah biasa tengok lah kan, the table kan. The cost refer to actual or market value of the car when new. And cost include accessories, exclude finance charges, insurance premium and road tax. Right, so this is the table. This table comes from public ruling tadi. Right, so here kita ada what we call as a prescribed value, cost or annual benefit and annual fuel untuk kereta. This is for new car. Alright, so here, for example, for car between 50 to 75,000, the market value of the car, harga kereta tu, the annual benefit that the employer will get is 2,004 and the annual fuel is 900. So lagi mahal kereta tu, lagi tinggilah the annual benefit. Annual benefit ni, this is the one, the amount that you will be taxed. The annual benefit dengan annual fuel ni, the amount that you will be taxed. So kalau kereta tu more than 5 years old, the value of benefit is half the prescribed value. So annual fuel remain the same. So if you get a car for less than a year, the value will be proportioned. Alright, so kita pakai prescribed value method ni, we just take the annual benefit and annual fuel. So this is the total benefit that you will get. And this figure will go to your calculation of employment income. Alright, kita boleh kata the tax efficiency lah for benefit in kind. So if let's say, right. So in this case, for instance, dia ada kereta ni based on new car 100,000. So kita tengok table tadi. The benefit for this car is 3,600 and the annual fuel is 1,200. So 4,008. 4,008 ni lah yang this employee will have to pay the annual benefit dia. So kita kata ni cash to saving lah. The company give you car. Rather than the company give you loan to buy car. Lebih baik ambil kereta daripada dia bagi loan untuk dia beli kereta. Sebab kalau dia bagi loan, dia dah bagi dalam bentuk monetary. Monetary tu will be taxed under section 31A tadi. Alright. Tadi kereta, now provision of a driver. If you have a car together with the driver, so driver will be, the benefit is a fixed amount of 600 per month. So the actual salary is not relevant. Regardless berapa banyak salary the employer bayarkan pada driver tu, kita hanya akan ambil 600 for our benefit, fixed amount 600 per month. But if the driver is provided solely for official duties, not taxable. let's say dapat driver, kereta dengan driver, kereta you tak bawa pun, kereta ada driver, semua untuk official duties, then not taxable lah. Yang kena tax ni is if you use for personal purpose as well, itu baru kena tax. Alright, here we have Jenny with a Proton persona costing RM64,000. So the first thing when you get a question like this, ada 64,000 dekat sini, kita pergilah table kita tadi tengok kan, kalau 64, kereta dia dekat sini, between 50 to 75. Don't worry, you don't have to memorize the table. For your exam nanti, table ni will be provided. You just need to know how to use it. Kita bagi table banyak-banyak pun tak tahu baca, tak guna kan. So you have the table, you must know how to read it. So in this case, we have Proton car tadi costing 64,000. So 64,000 tempat dia dekat sini. We have 2,400 for annual benefits and 900 for fuel. Right. So compute her car benefit if, number one, she uses the car for the whole year. What will happen and how much she will be taxed, or she uses the car for 9 months, or the company did not provide fuel for the car, or the car is more than 5 years old. So satu-satu situation independent of each other. Jangan pergi combine semua situation pula. So satu-satu. Alright, number one tadi, if she uses the car for the whole year, this is very basics lah, paling simple sekali. Kita tengok table tadi kan, 64,000, annual value dia 2,004, fuel per annum dia 900, so total 3,300. So this 3,300 benefit will go to the calculation of employment income. Okay. B, she uses the car for 9 months. Right, kita dah kira tadi untuk setahun dekat sini 3,003. If dia guna 9 months, 3 bulan, 4 bulan, 5 bulan, tak kisah. You just take this figure, multiply by number of months. Kita kena proportion tadi kan. So dapat 2,475. If the company did not provide fuel, bagi kereta je, 2004 lah, tak termasuk minyak dia. Kalau kereta tu more than 5 years. Okay, benefit dia tadi, remember 2004. Ini benefit ini fuel. Jangan campur terus ambil 3,000 tu, satu-satu. So if the car is more than 5 years, so kita ambil 2004, darab dengan separuh. Sebab for cars, more than 5 years car, the annual value kita ambil separuh je. Half times 2004 plus minyak amount dia sama. Minyak kita tak half kan, minyak kita ambil total. So 2004 times half plus 900. So you will get 2,100. Alright, other benefit in kind, saya letak dalam table ni je, yang depan ni, boleh tengoklah benda sama je. Other benefit in kind, ini semua under section 13(1)(b). Semi-furnished house. Semi-furnished house with aircon, curtains and carpet. This is the value, annual value. Fully furnished, 3,360. Ini annual value, tak payah darab 12, ini setahun. Service charge and water electricity per bill. Gardener per gardener. Household servant per servant. And recreational club membership per subscription lah. Tak kira berapa banyak. So the benefit that the person will get for recreational club membership ni, whatever amount yang the company bayar tu, kita akan ambil semua tu. Alright, so what are the difference between amount paid by company and the prescribed value? Prescribed value tadi yang kita tengok dalam table. Okay, you can compare dekat sini company paid dengan taxable income dekat sini. Cuba tengok company paid. If let's say you ambil driver tapi driver tu company yang bayar. Let's say you have the driver, you pay the driver and you can claim from the company kan. So contohnya kalau macam ni, driver paid by company 1,500 per month, which means company paid 18,000. Kan, you claim balik 18,000 from the company because you are the driver, you bayar, you claim from the company 18,000. Rather than, lagi satu tadi kita kata driver tu company tu yang bayar gaji dia, but kita kira untuk kita punya taxable income. You do not have to pay Company yang bayar je. You just ambil je the driver tu. So you get 7,200. The income will be taxed at 7,200. The benefit tu tadi. Gardener pay by company. If let's say company bayar 500, so 6,000. But the taxable income in your case, if you just ambil je gardener, company yang bayar semua 3,600. Household servant paid by company pun sama juga, 4,800. Kalau company tu bayarkan, you just guna the service je. You tak payah claim balik lah. Maknanya the company settle everything. So the taxable income would be 15,600. Rather than you bayarkan and you claim from the company. You bayar driver, you bayar gardener, you bayar servant and you claim from the company. Because when you want to claim, you have to claim whatever amount that you paid kan. So you will be taxed at 31,200. Tapi sekarang ni kalau semua company yang bayarkan, you just enjoy the benefit je. You will get 15,000. The tax income would be 15,600. So kita ada tax efficiency dekat sini. So this is the difference between amount paid by company and the prescribed value. So kita memang jimat lah kalau tengok kat sini company tu bayar banyak kan. But you will be taxed only on separuh je. Company spend 31,200 but you will be taxed at 15,600. Okay, so this is how we actually maximize the benefits. Ini sama macam tadi. Alright, so again, the tax exemption on benefit and amenity for section 31B. This is the exemption dalam EA or EG ni not required, which means you don't have to include in the form the benefit that you get. Kalau benefit tu memang exempted. For example, medical and dental treatment tak masuk dalam borang kita. Dalam income kita, medical and dental treatment tak termasuk sebab automatically you will get exemption. Medical termasuk traditional medicine as long as it is a registered practitioner. Pergi jumpa dukun, pawang, buah pokok semua tak ada, tak kira lah. Walaupun traditional dia mesti registered practitioner. Also exempted. Tak termasuk not include reflexology, homeopathy, spa and also massage. Maternity expenses pun termasuk juga. Treatment of pregnancy or childbirth. Dia termasuk dalam medical. So you will be exempted. Ini tadi kita dah tengok leave passage. So this is the strategy kalau you baca dekat sini. Since you will be exempted for leave passage in Malaysia 3 times and outside Malaysia 1 time. Well, even though it is confined to immediate family, that is totally fine. So maybe you want to consider taking leave passage in place of annual bonus. Remember kalau tadi pergi jalan-jalan dekat Malaysia 3 kali boleh jalan, company bayar semua, you do not have to pay tax. If let's say you tukar, bos kata okay I nak bagi you bonus 10,000 ringgit or you nak pergi holiday 3 kali setahun, which one you want? In this case memanglah kita nampak duit tu kan, best kan dapat duit, you boleh buat apa saja you suka, you pergi jalan, just pergi jalan tempat mana-mana yang you nak tu 3 kali, then habislah, you tak ada cash. But for tax purposes, if you get 10,000 bonus tu, you will be taxed at 10,000 dekat section 31A. But if you kata tak apalah bos, saya tak ambil bonus 10,000 ringgit, saya nak leave passage 3 kali. Yang ni you dapat ni, this one is not taxable. Compared to 10,000 ringgit tadi, you will be taxed at 10,000 ringgit. Bonus memang semua kena tax. How much you get bonus, automatically kena tax under section 13(1)A. So you might consider taking leave passage in place of annual bonus. Sebab kalau tengok dekat sini, my focus is that to make sure that you know what to enjoy, what benefit to get, rather than semua nampak duit je. Because duit yang you dapat bulat-bulat tu will be taxed in lump sum dekat section 31A. Additional tax exempt benefits, okay? Sometimes when you work at company yang macam malls ke kan, grocery store, so you will get goods at discounted price. So you will get exemption up to 1,000 ringgit kalau dapat beli barang at discount price. Services at discounted price fully exempted. Only for employee and not spouse and unmarried children. Kalau barang tadi ada max 1,000 ringgit, kalau service fully exempted. So for example, education institution provide free courses for staff. So exempted lah, dia bayarkan whatever courses that you go, the employer bayarkan, so that will be tax exempted. Food and drink free of charge and free transportation. Kalau company tu bagi transportation daripada rumah ke office balik rumah, then you will get tax exemption as well. Insurance premium or group insurance pun ada tax exemption. So maybe you might want to consider a group insurance. Okay, company kata kita ada group insurance, ambil lah. Because when you have a group insurance, and everybody knows now high cost of medical treatment, kalau pergi private lagi tinggi costnya. And the premium that you pay for group insurance is normally cheaper lah, because group insurance ni dia purchase in bulk. And the insurance premium ni is actually tax exempted. So this is how we can maximize the tax exemption on benefit and amenity. So this is under section 13 1B. Any question tak so far?
No, Doctor.
Yeah, okay kan? Sebab semua dah pernah belajar kan? So ni macam a refresher course for you. So I should prepare more difficult question for you sebab semua dah pernah belajar kan? Alright, so next one is if you have question ke apa, just stop me don't worry, I'll stopkan je so I can explain more, ataupun kita boleh revisit lah whatever topics that you are not clear. Alright, so the next one, tadi kita dah tengok 31A, 1A hanya untuk cash, 1B benefit in kind, tak termasuk cash benefit in kind, and C is living accommodation, rumah lah, rumah, hotel, hostel, apartment semua masuk dalam section 13(1)C. In this case, if you have accommodation provided by employer, amount in respect of the use by employee of living accommodation provided by employer. Alright, for living accommodation, you ada dua benda. Satu, furniture dekat section 13(1)B tadi. Furniture sahaja, only furniture under section 13(1)B. And the unfurnished house would be under section 13(1)C. So, kalau ada satu rumah yang ada furniture tu, kita akan kira together but under different section. Alright, so living accommodation benefits is basically taxable. Of course, kita suka kan bila kita dapat macam-macam benefit from the employer If you get living accommodation, it is actually taxable. So here we have 3 categories. First category is the employee or service director. This is the normal one lah, yang biasa saya bagi soalan pun the normal one lah, the first category. The second category is director of control companies. Director sendirian berhad company, control companies. And the third category is employee, service director or government officer. Dalam third categories. And again, kita ada public ruling juga on living accommodation. Tapi ni ada agak lama dah 2005. Tapi tak ada changes lah. Yang tadi 2019 boleh tahan lagi lah baru kan. So this one 2005 for living accommodation benefit. Alright, so the first category, employee or service director. You have to remember the formula nak kira dia. So for this, the first category, we will follow section 32(2)A of the Income Tax Act. So we must know the defined value of the living accommodation. Mana kita dapat defined value ni? What is the defined value? And can anyone tell me? Defined value ni apa? Paling mudah nak describe lah. What is defined value? Dah belajar ni, tak ada orang nak cuba ke? What is defined value? Tak ada, no idea, lupa. Defined value is the rental value okay, market value, rental value based on the market value that is the defined value. So biasanya defined value ni kita bagilah the defined value is given. So kita akan compare the defined value of the living accommodation and 30% of section 13(1)A income. So nampak if you ruin your section 13(1)A, salah kat atas, kat bawah ni pun salah nanti. But you must remember your section 13(1)A, in order for you to calculate the living accommodation benefit, mesti exclude share option. Share option yang dalam section 13(1)A nanti kita akan kirakan kita ada share option. So untuk kira 31C, 31A tadi you kena tolak share option which is lower. So kita kira lah defined value ataupun 30% ni lagi lower. Alright, so look at this example. We have Mr. A and Mr. B. Malas nak letak nama, letak A, B, C je senang. Alright, so here I cut the calculation short. Saya terus bagi you the salary. Let's say Mr. A dengan Mr. B ni hanya ada salary under section 31A. 31B dia tak ada dapat apa-apa. So kita ambil 31A je, the salary dia. Mr. A 120,000, Mr. B 60,000. Okay, let's say the accommodation, the defined value is 24,000. Kita bagi sama je market value dia 24,000. Alright, so the answer for this first category, alright, kita ambil salary tadi 120 from section 31A. And then kita ambil defined value 24,000 and we compare 30%. Alright, so for Mr. A, income dia 120,000. So 30% from 120 dapat 36,000. So kita compare lah dua ni mana lower, 24,000 lower. So 24 bawa sini, total lah jadi 144. For Mr. B, same, kita ambil 24,000 juga the defined value dekat sini, sama 30% of 60,000. Salary dia tadi sini 60,000 dapat 18,000. So 18 compare dengan 24, 18,000 is the lower. 18 dekat sini. So jumlahkanlah. So Mr. B will be taxed at 78,000 and Mr. A, the employment income dia ialah 144,000. Sebab apa? Sebab dia punya salary lagi tinggi. Okay, so depending on section 31A lah. The higher section 31A, the higher would be amount dekat sini. Right, the second category, kita just ambil defined value of the living accommodation. Kita tak compare, kita ambil defined value terus. And kalau dia share dengan employee, kita akan adjust. And the third category, ini semua orang ni, kalau dia dapat living accommodation in a hotel, hostel or similar premises. Yang tadi ni, awal tadi, ini rumah biasalah, banglo ke, apartment ke, terrace ke, kita guna calculation ni. Tapi yang ni kalau hotel, hostel, plantation ke, yang tempat-tempat yang tak ada rate untuk, sebab tadi kita tahu kan, the defined value tu ialah the market value ataupun the rental value. In some places, we don't have the figure for the defined value. Kita tak ada rateable, the rate of that area kita tak ada. So if tak ada tempat-tempat yang pedalaman ataupun yang macam plantation dekat ladang-ladang tu, so we just take 3%. Okay, so 3% of section 131A. You tak payah compare dengan defined value untuk 3% ni, kita terus whatever 3% that you get, you will use that 3%. You don't have to compare with macam ni. Macam ni 30%, dia compare dengan defined value kan. Tapi sini tak ada compare apa-apa, terus ambil 3% je. Provided that the living accommodation is provided in a hotel, hostel or similar premises. Okay, ini sama. Alright. So we have an example here. Miss Lily works for Malim Jaya Enterprise for the whole year of 2020. So her salary was 12,000 per month. She was provided with accommodation in Proton City by the employer for the whole year. Okay, senanglah kerja you kan? Sebab for the whole year. Duduk pula seorang, tak ada share. So ini dia seorang duduk setahun, the whole year and tak ada share. So the employer rented the house for 4,000 each month, including the value of furniture of 350 per month. The place is semi-furnished. And all these are all your keywords, your keywords for you. So you are required to compute the gross income from employment for year assessment 2020. Right, how do we start? So for this kind of question, I expect you to answer based on section. Start with section 31A, B, C, and so on. Alright, macam ni. Right, so you have section 31A. Kita ada salary dia 12 bulan, 12,000 sebulan tadi kan. Jangan lupa darab 12,000 sebulan tadi. Okay, sini. And dapat 144,000. So remember, dia dapat rumah dia semi-furnished. So furniture will go here, section 31B, furniture. 840 sebab semi-furnished tadi kan. Section 31C, okay, dia dapat rumah tu, we want to know the 30% or the refund value. Mana-mana you nak tulis mana-mana kat atas pun boleh, saya tak kisah. Yang penting you get the calculation right. So here we have 30% from her section 31A, 144 ni. 30% from 144, 43,200 or tadi rent dia 4,000 kan? Tapi if you look at the question kat sini, 4,000 tu including the value of furniture. So what you have to do is you have to deduct the furniture kat sini. So 4,000 minus 350, 3650 times 12, 43,800. So we want the lower figure, 43,200 is the lower. Bawa lah ke sini. So the gross income from employment for Lily would be 188,040. Okay. Alright, what about the employment or the accommodation provided for less than a year or it is shared with other employee of the same employer? Same employer kalau duduk share rumah dengan orang kerja company lain tak kira macam ni. Dia mesti share dengan same employer. Alright, here we have Encik Razak here, an engineer who earns a monthly salary of 8,000. He was transferred to KL with effect from 1st Jan 2020. As his accommodation was not ready, he stayed at a hotel up to 28 February 2020, where the room rate was 200 per day. Subsequently, he moved into a fully furnished bungalow, which he shared with another engineer. The company paid a monthly rental of 10,000 for the house, which included 4,000 for the furniture. Macam Lily tadilah, harga rumah tu dah termasuk furniture. So you are required to compute Razak's gross income for year assessment 2020. Right, again, you should present your answer in a table like this. Ataupun tak nak buat kotak pun tak apa, cuma susun ikut section. Alright, section 31A, salary dia 8,000 per month. Darab lah 12 sebab dia transfer daripada 1st January. So 8,000 times 12, that will give us 96,000. Section 13.1B, dia ada furniture and they share berdua. They share rumah tu kan, berdua. And then section 13.1C, sekarang dia ada 2 tempat. Remember, sebelum dia dapat rumah, dia duduk dekat hotel. So hotel 1 figure, bungalow 1 figure. Jangan combine, jangan ambil 30% based on the figure, right? So remember, hotel tadi, hotel, hostel, plantation, 3%. So 3% from 96,000 daripada salary dia, darab dengan 2/12. Sebab apa 2/12? Dia duduk dekat hotel 2 bulan je. Room rate hotel tu kita tak kira, walaupun kata dekat sini RM200 sehari, room rate dia, we don't care. In our calculation, kita just ambil 3% times 96,000. That times 2/12 sebab dia duduk 2 bulan sahaja. So 480. Nampak tak? For hotel kita tak ada compare. You do not have to compare with defined value on 200 tu, tak payah. 3% je, terus bawa ke sini. And then look at bungalow. Okay, kita tahu bungalow or apartment or terrace house. We will use 30%. 30% from 96,000. Section 31A ni. Times 10 divided by 12. Sebab apa 10? Dia duduk kat rumah tu 10 bulan. Sebab dia duduk hotel duduk 2 bulan. The remaining months tu dia duduk dekat rumah tu. So kita dapat 24,000. Alright, 24,000. Nampak tak? Kat sini you jangan bahagi 2 lagi. Walaupun dia berkongsi. Cari figure yang lower dulu dan only you divide by 2. Alright, so for defined value, dia duduk 10 bulan, sama kan? 10 kat sini, 10 kat sini. Times 6,000. Because remember the rental amount tadi is included the furniture of 4,000. So 10 tolak dulu dengan harga furniture 4. So unfurnished, because here we want the unfurnished value. So 10 times 6, 60,000. So 60 and 24, 24 is the lower figure. Bila 24 dapat lower figure, baru kita bahagi 2. Sebab tu kat sini saya bawa 12. Saya tak bawa 24, saya bawa 12. Because he is sharing with another employee. So kita kena bahagi 2. You pilih dulu mana yang lower. Dekat sini saya cakap semua ingatlah. Nanti time exam semua pun kat sini dah bahagi 2. Salah Pilih dulu the lower figure. Then you divide by 2 or by 3, by whatever lah yang dia berkongsi tu. You pilih, then you divide. Amount yang dah divide tu bawa ke sini. So Razak will be taxed ataupun the gross income for Razak is 109,880.
Doktor.
Yep.
Kalau employee kalau macam employee 3 orang kena bahagi 3
Bahagi 3 lah. Bahagi dengan
Oh.
berapa je dia duduk. Tak kisah. Tapi dia kena bahagi.
So bahagi 3 dekat furniture dengan apa define value yang lowest tu lah macam tu.
Betul. Betul.
Oh, okay.
Sebab dia macam dekat sini kita nampak dia bahagi kan. Kalau hotel tak apalah. But for the bungalow, kita bukan bahagi dekat sini. Kita pilih dulu. You jangan dekat sini, you dah bahagi. Let's say 24, you dah bahagi 2, 12,000. 60, you dah bahagi 2 juga. 30,000. Tak boleh. Kita pilih dulu dan kita bahagi. Kita tak bahagi dekat tengah ni.
Faham, Doktor.
Okay. Next Janganlah sekarang faham lepas ni salah buat
Okay, Doktor.
Because employment income ni actually paling senang you nak dapat full mark tau. Tapi based on my experience kat sini lah juga banyak yang, especially dekat sini lah, OC lah. 4B pun ada juga yang exempted tapi masuk kat dalam calculation kan. So if let's say soalan ni memang straightforward lah sebab my focus is on accommodation So kalau tiba-tiba kita bagi apa tu? Kita bagi medical lah, dental lah, tu semua tu nanti mabuk lah tengok So here tadi rumah dia pun fully furnished So fully furnished kalau kita tengok dekat dalam table kita 3360, so you kena bahagi jugalah darab 10, 12 bahagi 2. Okay. Ini apa? Okay, I think this one coming from our earlier slide. So the employment must be exercised in Malaysia. Employment perform duty outside Malaysia is to exercise the employment in Malaysia. Ni semua kita dah tengok awal tadi. Just that despite deduction of expenses. Alright, remember tadi saya kata the employer give the employee accommodation. So dia bagi accommodation. What if the employee kena bayar quick rent and assessment? The employee sendiri yang kena bayar repair and maintenance. The employee sendiri yang kena top up define value tadi. Katakan tadi rental 10,000 kan. Kita dalam in our calculation is very simple lah, straightforward je, 10,000 define value. What if 10,000 sewa tu the employee kena bayar sikit? Let's say dalam 10,000, 2,000 dia bayar, 8,000 company bayarkan. If there is some cases yang macam ni so these expenses can be deducted. Maknanya bila kita buat calculation tadi dekat sini kat sini tadi the calculation dia dekat rental ni, yang ni kita tak usik lah, 24,000 kita tak usik. Katakan dekat sini ini tadi rental dia 6,000 kan. Katakanlah the employee tu kena bayar sendiri 3,000 je company bayar. So 60 ni kita kena tolak lagi, tolak expenses dia. Katakan dia kena bayar insurans sendiri, dia kena bayar repair sendiri, dia kena bayar quick rent sendiri. Semua tu kita akan tolak dekat sini. And you will see the figure will be lower nanti dekat sini. Sebab kadang-kadang dekat sini, let's say dia punya section 31A mahal banyak gaji dia banyak. Let's say gaji dia banyak, dekat sini akan jadi banyak. So dekat sini mungkin lagi banyak. Tapi bila ada expenses yang dia kena tanggung sendiri, those are allowable expenses. Kita akan tolak and akan kurangkan figure dekat sini. But in my calculation, saya tak tolak deduction lah. So kalau ada deduction, you akan tolak dekat bahagian sini. Dekat bahagian define value ni. Macam sini tadi lah. Okay, deduction of expenses ni.
Faham, Doktor.
Okay. So let's take a short break before we move on to part 2. Saya jumpa you all seminggu sekali. So if we have no choice lah, we have to finish off everything by today, and later today you ada assignment nak kena submit juga. And let's take a short break. I'll see you later. Alright, kita sambung ada sikit lagi. So if you look at our slide yang awal tadi, so I show you that we have different types of employment income under section 31, section 13(1, whereby we have monetary benefits under 31A. Kita dah tengok tadi, so all the benefits in terms of monetary ataupun cash. And then second one is benefit in kind, section 31B, termasuklah furniture, company car, interest, subsidi, semua tu, mobile phone kalau ada. And then section 31C is the value of unfurnished accommodation. And now we're going to proceed with section 31D as well as section 31E. So we basically cover all the different types of gross employment income that an employee might get lah from the employer. Might not be all, because in some cases the benefit would be only in terms of monetary benefit. Section 31A tu sahaja, yang lain tu tak ada. So tapi kita tengok semua lah. Alright, so for 31D, it is on refunds from unapproved funds. Okay, when we look at the funds, the funding, normally an employee will receive certain amount from pension, provident fund ataupun EPF contohnya. Itu semua non-taxable. But under section 31D ni, we are looking at refunds from, the keyword here is unapproved funds. Okay, so kalau any amount received under whatever scheme or society that is not approved under the Act, it is actually taxable. So yang ni pun jarang kita tengok lah, because sometimes kalau dia ada provident fund ataupun dia ada PRS from private retirement scheme, biasanya itu registered registered or approved. So yang approved tu biasanya not taxable lah. But here we are talking about unapproved funds. Alright. Previously, when we learn about zakat and tax planning, you will learn it together with retirement planning. Tapi this time beza sikit lah, because for this semester you tak ambil retirement planning lagi kan. Now you are in semester 5, retirement planning next semester. So for tax planning, also important, especially for retirement, because we can say that on retirement, so there would be an EPF payment on retirement at the age of 55, and again EPF is an approved fund, so it is tax exempted. So boleh tengok dekat sini lah, EPF payment on retirement is tax exempt. So for EPF ni, we have both employer as well as employees contribution, which means from your salary, if you get a salary, so the employer will contribute certain amount to your EPF account, and you yourself will contribute certain amount to your own EPF account. So it would be employer and employee contribution. Okay, tapi yang in this case, kalau kita tengok employee required to contribute 11%. Tapi because of KPL itu, the government reduced.
Hello?
Hello.
Nanti hilang ke?
Line tak okay kot.
Okay.
Rai tak nak bentang ke?
Split EPF ke?
Belum.
Jadi.
Disconnect pula tadi. Can you all hear me now?
Boleh doktor?
Boleh
Can.
Tadi tiba-tiba hilang, kamera semua hilang, tak tahu kenapa. Alright, anyway, for employee with income less than 5,000, employer is advised to, is actually required, and this is a requirement to contribute 13%. Nampak tak? The more you earn, the less you earn, the more the employer will have to contribute for EPF.
Betul doktor. So ambil yang 9 ke ambil yang 11?
For now, dia depends. So, tapi kalau kita nak kira, kita boleh ambil 11 lah. 2021 dia
Okay.
turun jadi 9. So in this case, for again, kalau kita tengok all the calculation tadi, I focus on the tax planning too, because not only you know how to calculate, you also know how to strategize. So in this case, kita dah tahu tadi kalau cash remuneration under section 31A tadi, whatever you get, bonus, allowance, apa semua tu will be taxed lump sum kan. So one of the strategy is that the employee can consider foregone part of cash remuneration in return for an increase in employer contribution up to maximum of 19%. So employer punya contribution ni, walaupun kata dekat sini 12 atau 13, but the employer can contribute up to 19. So sometimes when you work with big companies biasanya kan, dia memang contribute banyak lah for the employee. Because this will be in your EPF accounts nanti. So this is part of the retirement plan lah, because EPF, we know that EPF is a retirement plan, kita punya retirement fund, EPF tu. Okay. Number one is EPF. Here tadi I talk about EPF. So the second one, it can be PRS. Ini pun I think everybody pernah dengar kan, private retirement scheme. Macam EPF, but EPF, dia approved scheme by the DG under section 150. So now PRS must be approved by Securities Commission. So sometimes the employer ni pun dia contribute kepada EPF, at the same time dia contribute to PRS juga. Or maybe some employee dia pergi ambil PRS, dia contribute sendiri. Tak ada kaitan dengan the employer. So boleh juga macam tu. And this contribution to PRS is actually deducted up to 3,000 sampai year 2021. So starting 2022, dia extend lagi sampai year assessment 2025. So kalau you tengok sebanyak dalam slide ni yang saya merah ni, kalau you operate tak nampak lah kod merah. Yang saya merah dekat sini mostly is the changes lah because of kita PKP. So year assessment 2021, 2022 dia agak berbeza sikit. Tapi bila now balik ke 2023, most of the relief ni dia back to normal. Ada nanti mana yang saya jumpa ni, I will let you know lah mana yang berubah tu. So for yang merah ni, before this sampai 2021 je, but dia extend sampai 2025. So now kita nak buat 2023, masih ada lagi lah. Alright, so these are the list of approved scheme. Kita ada CIMB Principal Asset, Fund Investment, Public Mutual, RHB. Ini tak ada pula. Alright. The next one is gratuity. Also tax planning for retirement. Sebab tadi saya kata EPF tadi is the retirement fund kan, sama macam PRS, also a retirement fund. Gratuity, you will be given a gratuity as a present for services rendered. Dari retire, dapat dia gratuity, which means you will get gratuity, will get the EPF. So for government servant, dia akan dapat the pension lah. Pension together with gratuity. So kalau ikut calculation in general, because remember gratuity dapat dalam bentuk cash kan. So cash is actually taxable under section 13(1)(a). Tapi gratuity macam what we have gone through before. So for gratuity, it will be exempted if the services ataupun the appreciation tu ataupun the retirement tu because of ill health ataupun after the age of 55 and serve 10 years or more. And exemption is subject to actual retirement from employment. So let's say umur 55 you retire, so you get gratuity. Tapi you can still continue working lah. Sebab tu kat sini the suggestion is that to continue as consultant ataupun advisor. Sebab duit ni dah lah tak apa ni, tak kena tax And then when you sambung lagi, then can continue as consultant after retirement lah. Sebab duit ni tadi bila you retire at 55, you don't have to be, will not be taxed. Okay, Okay, for gratuity ni partial exemption. Kalau tadi exempted semua kalau sakit, kalau umur 55. What happen if you retire before at the age of 55? Kita ada partial exemption. Partial exemption ni maknanya umur belum 55 ataupun retire tapi bukan sebab sakit. Tadi ada dua je kan, sakit ataupun 55 exemption. Tapi kalau retire earlier or retire bukan sebab sakit, saya saja suka tak larat kerja nak retire, then you get the gratuity. That gratuity will be taxed. Partial exemption, dia tak dapat semua. Partial exemption ni 1,000 for each completed year of service. So the balance of gratuity is taxed in the year of receipt. 131D ni yang tadilah, assessed in the year of withdrawal, restricted to employer's contribution only. Yang kena tax ni yang unapproved tadi tu hanya on employer's contribution. Right. Last one we have section 131C, compensation for loss of employment. Kalau 131D tadi gratuity tu when the people retire, kalau section 131E ni lebih kepada berhenti ataupun disebabkan compensation lah because of loss of employment ataupun breach of contract. Diberhentikan. Yang tadi tu retire, pension lah, retire. So 131E, in some cases, some companies kan, dia kata they advise the employee, okay, they advise employee to terminate the employment. Dan dia akan bayar, kita kata ganti rugi kan, dia akan bagi compensation. So that compensation is actually taxable. Sedih dibunyikan dah lah, kena berhenti kerja kan, dapat compensation, kena bayar tax pula. Okay. So the scope would include the salary or wages in lieu of notice, but salary ni normal lah, remember section 31A tadi, the salary memang kena tax and compensation for breach of contract of service, payment of the release of employer's obligation under contract of service, ex gratia such as retrenchment payment, severance pay, gratuity under DSS. Ini semua termasuk dalam section 131E lah. So, tapi the reason for termination, if let's say the person is terminated ataupun the contract is stopped because of ill health, dia dapat compensation certain amount of money. Dia kena berhenti kerja sebab dia sakit, dia dapat certain amount of money. That employee will get a full exemption juga. So exemption 10,000 is given for each completed year of service within the same company. So dia dapat exemption lah, dia tak dia kena tax dekat semua amount yang dia the compensation dia dapat tu. So here we have for example Miss Sylvia here started working as the manager of Clear Sdn Bhd on 1st July 2008. On 2019, due to the economic downturn, her employment was terminated and a compensation for loss of employment amounting to 118 was paid to her. Right, you lagi satu kan, you need to know bila ada cerita yang macam ni, you must understand, okay, income ni pergi section mana. Kan, ni sekarang loss of employment. Tiba-tiba cerita dia dapat gaji, kita tahu gaji 31A. Dia dapat furniture, dia dapat gardener, dia dapat servant, itu kita tahu 31B. Dia dapat rumah, itu 31C. Tadi tu kalau unapproved fund tadi itu 31D. Sekarang ni dia dapat compensation for loss of employment. Ini under section 31C. Right here dia dapat 118,000 amounting to 118,000 was paid to her. So you have to compute gross income under section 31E. Alright. So dia dapat 118,000. Kita tahu tadi exemption dia ialah 10,000 setahun. Kita kena kira berapa tahun dia kerja. Mesti complete lah tahun tu, which means kita kira daripada Julai 2008 sampai Jun 2009 setahun. Kena kira sampai Jun. Nampak? Saya kira sampai Jun 2019 dia dapat 11 years. Walaupun dia kena retrench pada bulan September. 3 bulan tu kita cincai tak ada. Kita kena kira cukup tahun, which means untuk 2019 dia tak dapat lah. Dia kira tahun 2019 tu dia kerja tak cukup tahun tu tak cukup So exemption 11 years daripada Julai 2008 sampai Jun 2019, 110,000. So even though she gets 118,000 for her loss, for her compensation, she will be taxed only at 8,000. 110 ni exemption. Dia tak kena tax on 118,000 lah. Setahun 10,000. Okay.
Doktor.
Yep.
Tanya, kalau dia takkan jadi, dia tak boleh kira mana kalau macam mana pun. Kalau
Tak,
masalah pun
kita, tak ada. Kita tak prorate. Dia mesti cukup setahun. Dia keyword dia each completed year of service. Dia mesti cukup setahun.
Okay.
Okay, so kalau tengok dekat sini tadi, date dia Julai kan. So dia kena pergi Jun 2009 baru cukup setahun. So you kira lah sampai Jun tu. Okay. Alright, saya dah merahkan dekat sini because tadi dalam example ni I put 10,000 ringgit exemption kan. Tapi for year assessment 2020 and 2021, the government increase the exemption to 20,000. Daripada 10,000 dia increase ke 20,000. Sampai 2021 je 2022, 2023 balik ke 10,000. So actually those yang masa kita belajar tax tahun 2020 dengan 2021 ni lain sikit lah. You have to follow this one. Now 2023 or 2022 we go back to the original one, 10,000. Saya just letak dekat sini that 2 tahun ni the government increase sebab ramai sangat yang kena retrench kan because of PKP apa semua MCO, then ramai yang kena yang lost their employment and they get the compensation, so it's not fair to tax them banyak lah that is why the exemption given is actually 20,000 per year per completed year, siapa yang kena retrench 2020 and 2021 tu. Ini kalau tadi kalau dia retire sebelum umur 55 ataupun dia kena dia retrench sebelum umur dia 55 ataupun dia kena retrench saja-saja dia kena retrench tapi kalau dia kena retrench disebabkan dia sakit ataupun dia retrench memang umur dia dah 55 at the retirement age, the compensation ni pun sama macam gratuity tadi, exempted. Sekarang macam Sylvia ni tadi tak ada apa-apa kan, dia kena buang kerja biasa di sini. So exemption 10,000 lah. Tak adalah fully exempted semua sebab dia tak sakit Kalau sakit fully exempted lah. Alright, VSS, Voluntary Separation Scheme. Ini tadi Miss Sylvia, saya letak example dekat sini, her employment was terminated. Dia diberhentikan sebab ni. Yang ni VSS, Voluntary Separation Scheme. In some cases, some companies dia buka. Okay, every year dia buka iklan untuk siapa nak ambil VSS. Siapa nak voluntary separation scheme. Dia tak buang, tapi dia tanya siapa nak. Siapa yang nak berhenti kerja awal, nak terminate the contract early. And these people biasanya akan dapat juga compensation for loss of employment. Dia dapat juga sebab dalam bentuk ganti rugi lah sebab nanti beza kalau kena terminate you tak dapat pension tu. You dapat ni je, compensation. Sebab dia kerja tak habis kontrak. Masa ni jugalah VSS ni, you tak ada pension tapi you dapat certain compensation for an early termination of an employment contract which does not provide for re-employment. Okay, again, walaupun dia BSS, konsep dia sama macam tadi. This is a compensation for loss of employment. The employee will get 10,000 ringgit for each completed year of service. And for 2020 and 2021, 10,000 tu the government increase jadi 20,000. So you can see why the government increase to relieve the burden of retrenched and unemployed staff. Like I said, dah lah kena buang kerja kan. Dapat compensation, kena bayar cukai lagi pula. So they increase the compensation 20,000 per year. But again, for 2022 and 2023, we are back to 10,000. Dah tak ada dah merah ni kat sini je sampai 2021 je So ini example macam tadi Sylvia ni. So here we have Mr. C. Dia opt for VSS. Dia dapat compensation 250,000. So ini example ni very simple lah. Tak ada date dia tahun je. So from this we can say that okay dia dapat exemption 14 years. Sebab dia kerja 14 tahun So 10,000 per annum, 140,000. So income chargeable to tax 110. Macam tadi saya katalah the exemption sekarang kalau 2020 and 2021 naik jadi 20,000. So bila dekat sini naik, dekat sini pun naik lah. So bila dekat exemption ni lebih, the income chargeable to tax would be lesser to relieve the burden of those yang retrenched ni. So this is the comparison between compensation and gratuity. Okay, so ini boleh tengok lah, gratuity ni is the appreciation for past services. Appreciation. Compensation ni is either redundancy or terminated prematurely. So kena buang kerja or kena terminate the contract, dapatlah compensation. Tapi gratuity ni past service, you retire. Tax treatment, kalau sakit, fully exempted, sama macam gratuity juga. Kalau pension or retire sebab ill health, fully exempted. Partial exemption, 20,000 for year assessment 2020 and 2021, 10,000 starting 2008. So sampai sekarang kita ikut 10,000 lah, bawah ni just for your information je lah. Dulu, mula-mula dulu 2,000 je, so the government increase sampailah sekarang 10,000. Which is better lah, I think it's better because of that compensation. So the employee do not have to pay a lot of tax. So exemption gratuity inilah ill health or reaching 55 or serve 10 years or more. So date of payment of compensation ni depends, payment ataupun agreed settlement or court order. So gratuity ni dia dapat payment lepas dia pada masa dia retire lah. Alright, so we have all different 5 different types of employment income. Okay, and then again, when we have gross income, sometimes the employee will have to spend ataupun incur certain amount of expenses, which include for example, nominal rent paid by employee, macam tadi kan, nominal rent, entertainment expenses, travelling expenses, fees to employment agencies, fees to professional bodies, purchase of journals, magazines, books, legal fees, all these expenses are actually deductible from the gross employment. Kita nampak tadi macam dapat gaji banyak ni, kena kira tax kan. But if the employee kena incur the different types of expenses ni, then the gross income dia akan jadi lesser lah, sebab kita boleh tolak kan. So bila dapat less employment income, the income tax would be less as well. Alright, tax treatment ini foreign national, ini kita dah tengok lah for 60-day rule tadi which means dia, you can refer juga dekat note yang resident status kita tu. So you can see kalau kerja less than 60 days, so the person will not be taxable in Malaysian tax law lah, sebab dia kerja less than 60 days. But also kita ada juga public rulings 2011 foreign national working in Malaysia, as well as tax exemption on employment income of non-citizen individuals. Okay, untuk foreign nationals kita ada form M, B and also BE. Alright, saya tak sure saya dah set ke belum for your groups, but for group B saya dah set last Monday. So for you, we have past year question. This is sekejap saya share soalan dia Right. So this is from saya tak ingat semester mana, last semester ataupun previous semesters So right. This is final exam question 20 marks. So ada A and B. So you are given stories dekat sini. So you are required to compute the statutory income from employment of Kumar from his employment for the year of assessment 2022. Ni lah saya punya lah kalau macam tu. 15 marks. And yang ni biasanya macam tu lah. Sebab yang kira-kira you all memang tip-top ni kira kan. Tapi bila kita bagi soalan teori walaupun markah 5 kan. Dia dah ke laut dah jawab. So here you have to compute the statutory income. And part B, you have to explain 2 benefit in kind that can be used in tax planning scheme for employees. Ni just list down and explain lah 2 benefit in kind. So here we have Mr. Kumar here, dia employed by 2 companies. So in 1 year dia ada 2 tempat, Muda Berhad as well as W Berhad. So this is the question. I expect you to do it and submit hari ni hari Friday.
Hari Isnin doktor. Isnin cuti.
Isnin, boleh hantar Isnin?
Isnin paling last.
Doktor.
Cepat je Yang penting bukan hantar hari ni
Betul.
Okay lah, Monday lah. Saya set sampai Monday malam. Monday 11 PM. Okay. Jangan terlajak time
11 PM.
Ya.
Okey, 11.59 doktor.
11.00 lah.
Alah.
Alah, tak payahlah. 3 hari kot ada kan. Esok kan ada buat apa pun. You all bukan celebrate pun. Cuti je. Okay So nanti saya check balik dalam My Guru sudah set ke belum. Maybe juga belum. Saya pun tak sure. I will check later. And I expect you to submit your answer by Monday night. So you have 3 days to complete. Soalan pendek je. Ni kalau exam ni soalan ni jawab 20 minit je ni. 20 marks Ada soalan? Any question?
Gratuity dengan bonus sama je kan? Lain Hello.
Sama. Gratuity tadi sebab apa dapat gratuity? Gratuity tadi appreciation kan? Past service award.
Oh ya,
Bonus
betul.
pun dikira past service lah. But bonus biasanya you dapat during gratuity tu biasanya. But both dapat dalam cash. Any other question?
Saya tak ada.
Doktor tulis tangan ataupun?
Tak ada Alright, so I have no question. Enjoy your short break. Idea petang kita masih lagi kita habis awal sikit. Short break and apa tu? Nanti saya
Doktor lag doktor, saya tak faham apa doktor cakap.
Please not before Monday 11 because everybody knows every time saya in the very first day you have to complete almost. Kenapa? Lag? Okay, saya kata you have to
Suara doktor
tak boleh dengar dengan jelas doktor.
Please to you lah dengan kata okay, breaking. Ni sampai dekat sini dah macam lagi masalah kita kalau sudah ni bagus. Okay can't hear. Now boleh dengar tak? Breaking juga.
boleh doktor.
Breaking sikit.
Still breaking. Okay now? Okay better. One question ni dekat My Guru. Alright, so dah terputus-putus ni.